already can't believe it.
And there was a really funny moment at the end. Both players had the exact same reaction on the webcam. They're both completely shaking their head, blinking uncontrollably, like, I can't even believe what I just looked at there. And fellas, I understand. We feel the same.
Except one of them won and one of them lost. So
exactly.
That's the trivia game that we played. This is something we might be seeing of a lot in this match. This is the Jose Martinez Sicilian treatment with white, getting the bishop out to the strange square of d3 and then repositioning it backwards. Although I think it's actually called the Kopek system, after Danny Kopek, if I'm not mistaken. But Jose plays it all the time.
Right. Yeah, just having those systems that you play can really help out. But Magnus is actually really going for it here. Just the immediate d5, queenside castling. I mean, you could definitely kingside castle against this, but I think this is a much more direct approach. Maybe just going after that d pawn, bishop f5, maybe a pawn to e4, just trying to rip the game open, and a3 indicates what you're saying. Maybe kingside castle and just fully b4. Let's go for it.
Clearly, Jose is familiar with the ideas and plans. He's played this hundreds, if at this point not thousands of times in online games, and maybe offline games. I would not feel particularly comfortable here with black. I see this coming, and I don't exactly... Okay, well, there you go. And by the way, that apparently is the best move. So to take that for what it's worth. And the knight is coming here and here, potentially.
Interesting. Yeah, I almost treat this, the move b4, you've got me thinking, like, maybe do you take it and play bishop takes b4, almost like those Sicilians where you sack a piece and just win every single pawn that exists? Otherwise, I agree, b4 is tough to meet.
Jose just thinking, like, hey, I just lost the game. Do I want to go all in with the move b4? What if it doesn't work? These are the thoughts that go through the head when you play against Magnus, but he played everything to set up this move. The only question is, does he need to make an improving move first? Or maybe something like a knight c4, potentially, to target the pawn on e5. It's easier to move his pieces, obviously, but what do you do if knight c4 is played? I'm not blundering anything, am I? I think it's good. Some e4 could be nasty, though.
I agree. Yeah, you always start to look for those e4 moves. I think maybe even bishop takes c4, followed by e4, like in that order, might be a bit more dangerous. And yeah, if you don't play that, maybe I was thinking castle. White could castle here, then prepare it. But perhaps black is intending to move the knight on f6 into d5. And then not only is knight f4 a threat, but b4 becomes just almost impossible to play after that, because c3 would hang.
Jose plays knight e4 after no less than 1 minute and 20 seconds of thought, which is never a good sign. But that is the deceptive nature of the 5+1 format. You can easily tank, and Magnus does play his plan, and now Jose decides this is what I want to go for. And look, come on, it's minus 1.2. You invest all this time, and
just send a full send, right? F5. I mean, starts with G5. I do think that F5 first was very, very logical, and then just follow it up, because now, okay, we're all in here, clearly. Both sides going full attack, and G5 was a mistake. This is apparently a blunder. I mean, Levy, what's going on here?
I have no clue. I don't know how you carve your way through this. Like, is it f5? Is that the idea? What was Jose's idea there? Is it to take the pawn on c5? Because that doesn't look like a mistake to me. So is that the reason? It looks like it is, because the bar is staying still.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and actually, I really start to get nervous about a knight showing up on the d4 square, so much so that I'm even considering knight takes c3 and then knight d4, because the g-file opening up looks so devastating that I'm convincing myself, the more I'm looking at it, that maybe that's an idea?
Yeah, I think so. Because white has to make a move. If b5 is appearing on the board, you might just have knight takes immediately. Knight takes, and the knight jumps into the d4 square, because the pawn no longer covers it. And that looks... Maybe white just has to sack the queen at that point. I don't know.
Exactly. Because, yeah, the rook g8 and the queen on d7 showing up to g4, h3, you know, any number of these squares looks devastating.
Jose thinking, but Thinking in this format is risky business. You have to only have clean thoughts. Suddenly you think for 2 minutes, your position is worse, and you have a minute less on the clock. And after a first game like that, which sort of stuns Magnus awake, going, okay, we're never going to do that again, he will look to shut it down. Bishop e3 appears, and it is a -3 advantage here with moves like f5 probably, Amon, and knight c3 and knight e3 and knight f4 and knight d4 and rook g8. I mean, you name it.
Yeah. So I think the issue is that he started to see and respect, and maybe rightfully so, the idea of knight takes c3 and knight d4. So instead of continuing his attack the way he would want to, knight c5, pawn takes c5, he had to cover that square. And now Magnus is like, well, I don't need the fancy moves. Let's just play the obvious. f5, rook g8. Let's get these pawns going. No way you can handle this.
And I think the key thing is that if the knight appears on c5, that knight actually is threatening business. But if the bishop takes it, there is nothing. White is at least 2 or 3 moves away from conjuring up any sort of threat, and by then Black would have gone to the g-file and crashed through and would be much closer to attacking the white king. I think Magnus just sort of senses the incoming pace of game, and Jose is in severe trouble here in game 2.
Well, yeah, the obvious is that if the knight moves, let's say to c5, you take it, you just play knight takes c3, bishop will then capture on f3 on the next move, and you can't really prevent the g-file from opening up. So yeah, something has got to give here. And I mean, I don't even, b5 is an attempt, but after taking here, maybe queen g7, maybe just takes. There's a number of moves.
Queen g7 is very nice. And then if pawn takes, knight takes c3 is lethal.
Exactly. Yeah, just about displacing that queen, and that is going to happen. I mean, look at the action is all on the king side here. You think about, it's always a pawn race, right? An attacking race, but there's no attack for white, and Magnus is nearly giving checkmate.
It's so hard to calculate things when pawns are going to walk all the way up the board to your king. You just get scared inherently. But not only did Magnus see all of that, he even saw that the queen could go over here, but there are no threats. There are no threats at all, which is just crazy that he saw that in like 15 seconds. And Jose just resigns him on.